Welcome to the Fuck Around and Find Out podcast, Perimenopause Edition, where we get brutally honest about the changes that no one warned us about and the identity crisis that it comes with. On today's episode, I want to slow down and share something that I haven't fully talked about before, which is my own story when it comes to perimenopause. And the reason that I feel such urgency to talk about this right now, as I'm sitting here in my bikini with literally like sand still all over me in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, is because we just got back from the beach. We are here celebrating our first annual team building retreat. And as I was sitting on the beach, I was just thinking about how a couple years ago, I would not have put on a bikini to be around other people, especially other people that are also fitness professionals. And the reason is because I was going through perimenopause and I had no idea. And I had very rapidly gained 20 pounds. And I, in addition to that, lost a lot of muscle mass. And I just felt so horrible about myself. I was really depressed. I felt like a fraud. You know, imagine being a health and fitness coach and you don't feel like you're healthy and fit. And I didn't look healthy and fit. It was really embarrassing. And talk about the identity shift. Like, these are the moments that I feel like no one warned us about. And I think that the reason isn't because they're trying to like gatekeep. I think it's honestly because we don't realize that it's happening and we don't realize that it is rooted in our hormonal health as to the reason that it's happening, you know? So when I started going through this, I remember I was spending the entire summer in sweats. And I live in Washington. Thankfully, it's not like super fucking hot, but yeah, it gets hot. It would get like 90 something degrees and I would be wearing sweats as often as I could. And I would decline invitations to go to the lake. My husband spent a lot of that summer without me, going and hanging out with his friends and getting on the boat. And I couldn't put myself through it. I felt so shameful. And it wasn't just because of how I looked. It was also that with the hormonal fluctuations that I was experiencing, I was incredibly depressed. I was questioning a lot about my life decisions. I was kind of shutting a lot of people out as a result of this too. And therefore it got really lonely, even though it was, you know, shutting people out. And of course I became lonely because of that. So it was my fault, but it was like I couldn't help it, you know? And another big thing that was happening around this time is the shit that I used to do that used to work wasn't working anymore. And so it left me feeling really confused and frustrated because it was almost like the more I pushed, the harder my body pushed back against me, you know? So I had to taper back my training. I really didn't have a choice. And not to mention, I was incredibly fatigued all the time. Like by 2 p.m. every day, I felt like, holy shit, I need a nap. And I'm not a napping kind of person. And I would feel just really, really mentally and physically exhausted on a consistent basis, even though I was doing less in the gym. I wasn't doing any cardio. I tapered back from 5 days a week of weightlifting to maybe 2 to 3. And it wasn't really on purpose. It just felt like my body couldn't handle any more than that. Also, during this time, I started drinking a lot because another thing nobody fucking talks about, but we're going to start, is when you're experiencing these hormonal fluctuations, they impact your dopamine and serotonin. And that means that the things that used to make you happy, that used to give you pleasure and make you feel fulfilled, don't make you feel that way anymore. And so I was struggling to just feel happiness. I was struggling to honestly feel anything. And this was a really difficult thing to go through because, you know, it's not just about me. I noticed was starting to affect my husband. And I think that's when I started to take it more seriously and start looking into what was going on, because it wasn't his fault that I didn't want to do things and go out. It wasn't his fault that I was fucking tired all the time. It wasn't his fault that I'm moody and indecisive and just struggle with even holding attention during a standard conversation. You know, all of these things happen when you're going through perimenopause, and it's almost like we have had to uncover it ourselves because I honest to God just thought this shit was losing your period and having hot flashes. And it's like such a huge wake up call when you realize that it's a lot more than that. It's ADHD. It's, the lack of motivation. It's lack of not only sex drive, but just any kind of libido at all, And I talked about this on a previous episode where I went through a period of time that I thought, do I even need intimacy anymore? Like, I wasn't craving it all. And it was really confusing and honestly kind of scary, And so anyhow, I'm thinking about all of this when I'm sitting on the beach today. And I just realized I don't know why I'm getting so emotional about this. I just realized how grateful I am to finally feel like myself again. And granted, I'm still going through this shit. Perimenopause isn't just like a couple years. It can last like 8 to 10 years. I don't know if I can take much more of this, but I do have a much better handle on it now. I understand what's going on with my body, so I can navigate it. I know the proper supplementation, the proper training protocol, the proper nutritional approach, and it really makes a huge difference. It's not just about getting your labs and taking the proper supplements. That couldn't be further from the truth. And I talked about this in a previous episode as well. So if you haven't listened to my first couple of episodes, I would definitely recommend going back and listening to that, because I kind of break down all of the steps that are necessary to get a grip on this phase of life. It's not just the supplements. Actually, you shouldn't even start with the supplements before you implement everything else. So I just feel a great sense of gratitude that I can go to the fucking beach. I have the energy to get out of the house and go to the beach and be around people and wear a bikini in public. It's the little things that you get back in your life. Like, I can go and be with other people and not feel like I need to cover myself up with sweats because I'm so fucking uncomfortable in my body. I feel like I got my life back. And the way that I started to do that was, one, acknowledging that you're in perimenopause. Like, it's just like anything else. You have to accept the real reason or the truth. You have to accept the truth before you can start to address it, And so once I realized that, then I was able to view all of this from a different lens and really take the time and consideration to figure out why these things are happening. And every step that I took, I realized, oh, this goes really deep. Like, did you know that perimenopause makes you more attractive to mosquitoes? Yeah, weird shit like that. It can make it so you have allergies for the first time in your whole life, which is something that happened to me too. I thought it was just because we moved to Washington. I think that was just like a really interesting turn of events that we happened to move to a state that's surrounded by trees and everything, but also around the time that I'm entering this perimenopause phase. And now I have allergies for the first time in my whole fucking life. I'm itchy all the time, randomly. Like, those are perimenopause symptoms. ADHD, having a lot of trouble focusing, having a lot of trouble remembering words that are a standard part of your vocabulary. There's a lot of instances where mid-sentence, I just forget completely what I was talking about. It's really embarrassing. So there's a lot more to this. And the first step to healing is acceptance that, yeah, I know it feels like we're too young for this shit, girl. It does. But the truth is, we're not. Okay. So the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can start healing and feeling like yourself again. Because like I said before, it can last up to 10 years. You don't want to spend the next 10 years feeling miserable and disconnected in your body and feeling like your marriage is suffering because of you. There's a lot of guilt and shame that can happen around this if you don't attack it head on. That's my biggest piece of advice. You have to recognize it so you can attack it head on, because this isn't just about you. It's about your partner. It's about your kids. It's about your friends and your family. It's about your coworkers and your business. You are the root of all of that. And it's not fair to any of those other people in your life that you're not addressing the issues. And it's also not easy to navigate this shit on your own. The only reason that I've been able to do it, quote, on my own, is because I've been a health and fitness professional for 20 years and I have a stellar team that is very knowledgeable in this as well. So technically, I haven't done this on my own. I've done it with a lot of support from other health and fitness professionals. So I wanted to share this. Like I said, it was just on my mind. I had to get it out because I know what it feels like to lose yourself in this process and to doubt your body and your mind and to feel like you're broken. And I want you to know that you're not too far gone. You're not crazy, and this does not have to be your new normal. So if you're listening to this and thinking, holy shit, that is me, it's not just you. And you don't have to keep trying to fix it with willpower and guesswork, because that honestly will not get you very far. Piecing together tips and tricks from random Instagram influencers is not going to get you to a place of healing when it comes to perimenopause. It is so much deeper than that. So because I know how difficult it is to navigate all this shit, we are hosting a free masterclass on May 15th at 5 p.m. PST. So if you've been struggling with symptoms of feeling stuck, feeling like an imposter in your body, feeling disconnected from yourself, and wondering if this is just how your life is going to be, you need to be at this masterclass, because I'm going to break down exactly what is going on, why the things that used to work are no longer working, and what you need to actually do in order to feel like yourself again. So if you want access to the masterclass, just DM me on Instagram at sav_tastic, the word masterclass, and I'll send you the link to lock in your spot. Even if you can't join live, I would highly, highly recommend that you lock in your spot, because you'll actually have access to the recording. But if you do join, there's going to be a special bonus valued at over $5,000 that you will not want to miss, okay? This is your wake-up call. This is where we stop guessing and we start actually attacking this head on using a science-based approach. So I will see you there, and I will catch you in the next episode.